Engelbert is just not in a good spot. And we talked about it in a previous video, how Adam Silver came out and he kind of backed Kathy. Kathy also said in her public statement that she is not going anywhere. She's never been one to quit on anything, and she is going to build back the relationships that need to be mended. But one of the biggest sticking points seems to be on this revenue share.
Officially, the WNBA is in a state of panic. Panic calls at 3 in the morning, executives freezing, sponsors switching tables. Millions are reportedly on the line with sponsors wanting answers, demanding accountability, and in some cases, asking their money back, all of which were sparked by the Caitlin Clark disaster. Drama gave way to catastrophe in this case. Click the like button, subscribe, and let's get right into this crazy situation before we explain how this collapse began, why sponsors are upset, and why panic is growing throughout the league. Behind the scenes, an incredible event occurred throughout the past few months. Companies that had previously supported the WNBA with pride began posing challenging queries. Why did the league feel cooler all of a sudden? Why were ratings declining when they ought to have been soaring? Why was the energy moving in the wrong way? And all of this confusion's paths were going back.
She's done. Honestly, this woman, she just alienated a huge portion of her fan base. You should see, I tweeted about this, and my Twitter feed is littered with people saying, I'm done with her. I'm over.
Caitlin Clark is one person who has been mistreated. Sponsors kept an eye on everything. The tension, the narrative conflicts, the criticism, and the peculiar treatment both on and off the court. Where there ought to have been jubilation, they witnessed disagreement. Where there ought to have been growth, they witnessed division. And sponsors began to retreat gradually and discreetly.
Energy out of the fans and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA, but the good news is her career is not over. But it's a tough blow when it all comes crashing down like that. And ever since Stephanie White's presser the other day, where she talked about how Clark had not taken contact practice.
Then a big sponsor called and said, we need to reconsider our investment. Like dominoes, a line began to form, with hundreds of people departing and dozens reconsidering, requesting meetings, wanting openness, demanding money, demanding data, and demanding promises. What did the WNBA hear? Coldness, uncertainty, and silence. Executives froze. People became alarmed because 10 sponsors follow the lead of one. And that's where it all blew up. According to reports, several sponsors questioned, what about the money if this relationship fails? Refund, buyout, and renegotiation. The phrase that caused the room to tremble. Refund. Millions are at stake. The WNBA does not want to bring back millions since it would result in a loss. Even worse, it entails debt. At midnight, picture executives gazing at contracts. Imagine Adam Silver making calls that no one wants to take. Imagine Kathy Engelbert using gasoline that is raining from the sky to try to put out the fire. This was no longer a minor problem. This turned into a real-time financial crisis.
These are numbers when people talked about at the beginning of the season, the high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat. Yet you had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because. And then her teammate cheers for her for throwing her on the ground. It didn't get better. And it's disappointing to me because it's not every player in the WNBA. And I'm sure that there are many players who are happy to have her in the league. And it's like, if it was my league and somebody was coming in and bringing millions of people, like, I would be excited about that, because you know what? That's a chance for me to impress millions of people who weren't watching before.
Caitlin Clark, the biggest attraction, the largest ratings booster, and the biggest moment creator in years, is at the center of it all. She didn't cause sponsors to depart. Sponsors became alarmed because she wasn't being used appropriately, wasn't being protected, wasn't getting enough promotion, and wasn't being valued as a generational star ought to be. Every time a fresh controversy hit her name, it was seen by fans, businesses, and the entire sports world. Sponsors remarked, "This isn't what we invested in. Each time drama overwhelmed basketball, and she was treated differently on the floor.
Adam Silver has been seeing this nonsense just like all of us, and he's actually called certain things out. He's called things out like, yeah, Kathy needs to work to have a better relationship with the players. He said that. He's also said, yeah, it seems like things are getting a little bit like really personal. You know what I'm saying? It's getting real catty and personal, as things tend to get when women get to going back and forth and all of this stuff. Adam Silver stepping in and saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that there's a 2026 WNBA season. I'm going to make sure this CBA gets done, and I'm going to make sure it's fair for both parties. This whole revenue sharing.
Then came the conversations about Team USA, the roster choices, the uncertainty, the inquiries, and all of a sudden the anxiety increased. How did the league have a meltdown over her usage after she became the biggest breakout star in years? Sponsors were taken aback. Executives were unable to respond. Adam Silver allegedly had his worst week in years as the pressure mounted. Every meeting became a "what's going on?" Who gave their approval? Why do we put everything at risk? The WNBA is currently frantically attempting to calm down sponsors, manage the narrative, and demonstrate that they are maintaining control. However, the reality is straightforward. The news cycle featuring Caitlin Clark broke the system. It revealed every flaw. Every blind area was displayed. Every executive was compelled to deal with the fallout from their own choices. Sponsors are now demanding, "Fix this or we're out." Some even go so far as to say, "And if we're out, we want the money back." That is not a caution. That poses a risk.
It's not a small thing for ownership to not back their representative. That's what a commissioner is primary, a spokesperson for the owners. Yikes. The WNBA's financial growth is incurring more favor for Engelbert in a sign that is much more than just a typical player-owner tension. What Collier has exposed is that in her 6 years as commissioner, Engelbert hasn't amassed significant favor from either side of the proverbial aisle. So with the players or the owners, neither one of them are big fans of her. She's screwed. She's screwed. Chief among the complaints, according to multiple sources, are her people skills. She's not the easiest communicator to reach. As the head of a socially active, politically engaged league, Engelbert isn't an ideal communicator, especially as it pertains to sensitive topics and moments. That's not a good sign. Because I've heard some rumors about a potential replacement, and it might get worse.
Hey, the pressure is on regardless of how they spin it. Future prospects, reputation, and millions are all at stake. The league is completely terrified. Executives are immobile. Sponsors are exerting pressure. And it all boils down to one reality. You put the entire league at danger when you treat the biggest star poorly. The narrative is not slowing down. This breakdown is simply